Ability in Disability. I am Angela Ekore. Over 466 million people worldwide have disabling hearing loss, according to WHO 2025. These account for 6% worldwide. With proper information, this high number of individuals can impact their world positively with their disability. I have a medical personnel here with me, Dr.
My name is Dr. Udi Uvie. I'm a family medicine senior registrar in the hospital known as Federal Medical Center, Asaba.
You're highly welcome to Ability in Disability.
Thank you.
We are going to discuss about deafness. What is deafness?
Okay, deafness is actually when there's some level of hearing loss. So when a person cannot either hear completely or there's some partial loss of hearing, and we see that there's some level of deafness. And there are, of course, different types of deafness, which we will talk about in time. But basically, when there's some level of hearing loss or there's complete hearing loss, then you can see that the person has some form of deafness.
Okay. Now, doctor, you mentioned the hearing loss. Can you differentiate deafness and hearing loss?
Actually, they are about the same thing.
Okay.
Yes, so we call it either hearing loss or deafness.
Deafness.
Yes.
Wow,
so
but they have different degrees.
Yes, we actually had different degrees of hearing loss or different levels or different degrees of deafness. So wow. It's like using the same. It means the same thing, but just different words.
Yes. What are the types of deafness?
Okay, actually there are two types of deafness, and then there's a third, which is actually a combination of the first two types. So first, there is what we call the conductive deafness. In that case, you have some form of obstruction or prevention of sounds from going from the outside to the inside, and that obstruction usually happens in the outer ear or in the middle ear. Now, the ear actually has three parts. Some people think that is all that they see. In fact, some people think that this thing that looks like satellites outside their head, their head, on the sides of their head, is all that there is to hearing. No, actually, that's just like a satellite, like the receiver that seems to pull sound in. Even if you don't have that, even if they cut that out, you will still hear.
Wow.
Okay, so that's not really the major part that has to do with hearing. But besides what you see on the outside, there's actually a canal that we call the outer ear, and then beyond it, I'm sure many of us have heard what we call the eardrum.
Yes.
It's an eardrum, or what we call the tympanic membrane. It's the boundary between the outer ear and then the middle ear. And then after the middle ear, where there are, three small bones that actually help with transmission, you now have the inner ear. So this conductive hearing loss or conductive deafness actually comes as a result of problems in the outer ear or in the middle ear. If there's anything that is blocking the transmission of sound through these areas, you have conductive hearing loss. But the second type of hearing loss is called the sensory neural. It has to do with the sensory organ in the innermost ear or in the inner ear, an organ called the cochlea. Okay, it's responsible for certain things in terms of picking sounds sensitively and then transmitting it to the brain through a nerve that actually helps with hearing. So if you have a damage to the cochlea or you have a damage to the nerve, what we call the auditory nerve, that transmits sound to the brain for it to interpret, you will have what we call a sensory neural hearing loss. Then the third type, which I said is actually a mixture of both. So there are some people that actually have both a sensory neural and then a conductive deafness combined for whatever reason. So it now call it the third class of people that have deafness.
Oh, wow. What are the levels of deafness?
Deafness can be in levels. So some people hear to some extent. they actually have some level of deafness. So we actually say that there are three levels. There's the mild, there's the moderate, and then there's the severe deafness or severe hearing loss. In mild deafness, objectively, especially as by the person experiencing it, they will notice that, oh, one ear, if it's in one ear, all right, it's not as clear as the other ear, but they are still able to pick sounds to some extent. Okay. In some cases, they can still interpret the sounds because they are hearing to a relatively high level. And so they can interpret the sounds, but they just have this sensation that, no, I'm not hearing as clearly as I used to. My ears feel kind of blocked. Then when it goes over to moderate, the ability to pick and interpret sounds reduces to a large extent. So for many of those kind of people, they can hear the sounds, but interpreting it, making sense of it, it's a bit more difficult. So either they have to get nearer wherever the sound is coming from, or they have to pay more attention before they're able to actually make sense of the sounds they're hearing. Then of course you go to the people that have severe hearing loss. Those ones can barely hear. Those of them that can even hear any sound at all is just very loud, uncoordinated sounds that they hear. They can't really make sense of it at all, and it's very, very low. So those are the three basic levels of hearing loss. Of course, severe hearing loss is the worst that there is actually.
Wow. What are the causes of deafness?
Okay, there are a number of causes, and before you even come into life, things already start fighting you, which is why the person that is bringing you to life should start battling for you before you come, because there are some people that come and they come on the scene and they suffer some of these disabilities not because of their fault, but because something could have been done about it by somebody while bringing them to life and it was not done. So first, we talk about the kind of damages that can happen while that child is within the womb. If a pregnant woman is not well cared for, there are infections she could be exposed to, like rubella, and some viral infections that could affect her, and then it can affect the baby and damage the hearing and sometimes other parts of that baby. So while that the care and the prevention, actually should start while the baby is in the womb. So infections while that child is in the womb can cause damage. Then sometimes when you are now out of the womb or you are living your life, ear infections happen frequently, starting from childhood and some adults as well. So if you have repeated ear infections, you are not taking care of it, you are not treating it promptly, it can lead to some form of hearing loss. If there's an accident or trauma,
our team towards a safer physical environment for the blind. Yeah, it speaks to the truth we all share. Yeah, that accessibility and safety are not just flavors, but fundamental human rights. The white cane is not just a tool, but is a symbol of independence, hope, and possibility for the visually impaired everywhere in the world. It reminds us of the fact that blindness is not just about losing sight. It's about...
They put barrel covers, they put foul feathers, they put brooms in their ears, and even cotton bud. We actually don't advise people to clean with cotton bud. I mean, the ears, naturally speaking, care for themselves. Sometimes in doing those things, you actually damage your ears. Then one very important thing is loud sound. Many times people just stay around very, very loud sound. I mean, you may be in a program, in a church setting, in a disco hall, in a club, and you just stay where there's a lot of, very loud sound that is not good for your ears. They can damage your hearing. For those of us that use AirPods, you will notice that when you are increasing it, most of the AirPods have that inbuilt of trying to warn you that, oh, beyond this volume, it becomes dangerous for your ear. We ignore it. We just ignore it and say, okay, we have heard, and increase the volume anyways. Now those loud sounds, if you are there and as you hear them repeatedly for long periods of time, those people that work in places where their machines are so loud, those are some of the things that will cause damage to your ears and then give you some level of deafness.
Well, doctor, you said that the ear cares for itself. How does the ear care for itself?
Okay, so there are a number of people that they tell me, because I've treated a number of people that have these ear problems, and when they come, they are very bold. In fact, they start by telling you that, doctor, I clean my ears every day. Immediately I come out from the bathroom, I carry my cotton bud and I clean my ears, and they believe that they are caring for the ears.
Yes.
All right, but most times when they come with their head hanging with pain, and when I look into the ears and see what has happened, I tell them, you must be the cause of this problem. And by the time I start explaining, they actually find that they are guilty. Now, the ears, the outer ear especially, which is where wax builds up, we can divide it into 3 parts.
Okay.
In the first 1/3 of the outer part, we have small hair cells. Hair, small hair. Now, that hair, or that area is actually responsible for producing wax. Wax in itself is not a bad thing. It's actually what we call a physiological or natural thing. There's a reason for it. So it is produced in little quantities. Its job is actually to trap other dirt that is coming in, and help to keep it at bay. Now, it all happens in the outer 1/3 or the outer part of the ear. And what happens is, as that is happening, those hair cells are responsible for gradually also pushing that wax to the outer part of the ear, where for most people you will notice that it dissolves. So you notice that every time you touch like the outer part of your ear, it feels a bit oily. It's actually the clearance of the wax after it has done its job to the outer part of the ear, where you can now clean. So that way, naturally speaking, if you have healthy ears, it will clean itself out without you having to clean. There are people that will never clean their ears from when they are born to when they are dying, and you will never really see it very dirty because the ears are very healthy. That's how the ear actually works.
Oh.
Yes, we know that there are some people we call wax formers. For some weird reason, their wax production is very excessive, and before you know what's happening, it blocks the ears. But most of it, it's not a very common thing. In those cases, we know what to do to help them. But for some people, when they now try to clean the wax that is supposed to be trapped in the outer part and the ear is helping to clear it out, they will push it in, which is why we say do not clean. You will now push it in to where the ears cannot help it to come out. Then the new ones that are being formed will build up and help you block your ear very well. So we say avoid it if possible. In fact, avoid it.
Okay, avoid cleaning your ears.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So what are the prevention, or how can we overcome these causes?
I mean, if you've been listening to what we have said, I'm sure already by now those answers will be forming in your head.
One after the other.
So it's pretty straightforward. You are a pregnant woman, go for your antenatal fast. Go for your antenatal early. Keep up with your appointments. Make sure that you are informing your doctor on everything that's happening so they can care for you, give you the necessary vaccinations you need to prevent any infection from affecting your baby in utero. You are now born and you are outside. Remember what we have said, the ears naturally will care for itself, so do not put things inside, do not poke it. If you start having ear pain, infection, discharge from your ears, you think there's a problem, don't waste time. Some people think that pus coming out from the ears, especially people that are not very educated, they think it's normal. They say it's normal. It's been coming out for years like that. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, have you been seeing it in other people's ears that you feel it's normal? Right? So, no, when you have those kind of problems, be prompt for going to treat, because some of those repeated infections are part of the things that will damage your ear, maybe slowly, gradually, but permanently over time. Then don't stay where the loud sound is. That thing that your earpiece is telling you, obey it. don't put it in your ear and ignore the warning, and then just increase it very loudly and think that you are enjoying the world. No, because many things that happen when you are younger, your body doesn't report you. reports to you. But it's like a vehicle that you just buy brand new and everything seems to be working. And you think because everything is working, you won't check the car for 2 years, you won't change the oil. 3 years you are moving, you say this car is fantastic. This car is fantastic. Very soon, one day, it will just pack up. And it did not pack up in one day. The damage has been happening gradually. So I see many people suffer in older ages, with these things because when they were younger, they took it for granted. So now we're giving that warning that prevent such things from happening to you. Old age can be very challenging. Make sure that when you get there, you do the things that you should do now so that the challenges can be as reduced as little as possible so that you can enjoy your time in your old age as well.
Wow. Let's go for a short break. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. Here with me is Dr. Ovie Udi. We're discussing about deafness. Doctor, is there any medical solution to deafness?
Oh, yes. But like I'm sure we all know, I've heard people many times they say after God is doctors. Well, we try to do our bit. But we don't have all the solutions, but to a large extent, many of the things that we have discussed, there are solutions for them. So if you're having conductive hearing loss, and of course the problem is maybe wax has impacted your ears, some other thing has blocked your ears, there's a foreign substance, like some children put beads in their ears. If you treat children, you'll be amazed the kind of things you will see.
Yeah, wow.
Some people, insects. Recently, I had to deal with somebody that had a cockroach in the ear, and the cockroach has been there for some days. So it started getting rotten. Of course, it was uncomfortable. She wasn't hearing well. So a number of those things we can actually deal with it. We have ways of removing it, cleaning out the ears, and then your hearing is restored. Ear infections, most of them, the common ones, there are medications actually that can help with that, clearing them, making sure that they are cured. That's why we say when you have those kind of infections, treat promptly. So yes, many of them we can deal with like that. For people that have some level of hearing loss, and we know, okay, there's nothing we can do about it, but their hearing is not optimal enough for them to make a clarity of sounds, and they want some improvement. There's also the option for hearing aids, so hearing aids can be procured and given to them. It will help, to increase the sound that is collected and amplified so they can hear clearer and better. In some cases, we do what we call a cochlear implant. I don't know how common that is in the country, but of course it's possible, where an implant is now put in the innermost ear or in the inner ear, and it can help, some people that have some level of hearing loss. So to some extent, there's a number of these things that we have said that cause hearing loss that can be treated with some medication, sometimes with some surgery, and there will be significant improvement, and the people can have, better hearing abilities.
Wow. In a case where there is no medical solution, what is your advice?
Well, just like I said, doctors are not the end of it. When we're not able to meet up with certain things, or there are certain things where we realize there's no solution to it, it's also not the end for those people that have this kind of disability. There are other ways to live your life that can compensate and make you still live a full life. So for those kind of people, we'll encourage them to go to the schools that train people that have deafness as a disability or other disabilities. There are places where you can go to, you can learn how to read, you can learn sign language, you can learn, how to communicate with other tools. So we encourage them to start quickly, to begin to use those tools to help themselves to cover up for whatever disabilities that they have. So that's what we do. We encourage them to continue with their life. Continue being social. Don't withdraw yourself. The truth is that many people like that actually end up being great people in life. We have so many examples of them, and they were able to overcome that disability, go ahead, forge themselves ahead in life, learn other things, learn skills. Be fully educated. There's actually nothing that still stops you, even when you have that disability. So at that point, once we see that there's no solution from the medical point of view, we actually encourage them to go on and participate in life and get other ways to do well and live a full life.
Live a full life.
Yeah.
Well, your advice is very, very nice. Do you think the people living with disability or have the hearing loss, they can make an impact in the society?
Oh, very much so. In fact, sometimes I think it makes them make more impact than they will even have made.
We kind of hearing what we are saying.
No, sometimes some things that people think are disadvantages end up being advantages for them, because it makes you to pull on the inner strength that you have that you probably won't have pulled on if something didn't pose itself as a challenge to you. So they can make tremendous impact. It will pull out the things in you that you probably won't have paid attention to. And I can tell you that in every man there's a lot. So these people, they can make very great impact in both their lives and the lives of people around them, and even more impact than people that, in quote, do not have that kind of disability. There's just no reason why you shouldn't excel, even if you find yourself challenged with one disability or the other. There's absolutely no reason.
Wow. There's ability in disability. That's why we are bringing this awareness. You know what you're supposed to do when you're in this situation. Your advice to parents out there.
Okay, so I'm advising parents that first, we have talked about the things that have to do with preventing any problem, any challenge like this. If you are having children, you have children that have any disability of such, meet the right people to talk to them and let them give you advice. So my advice is, start now to encourage those children. Start now to put them in the places where they are going to learn and to thrive, because there's nothing that will hold them back. They are going to do amazing things. If there are challenges that you need to discuss with a health professional, come and we can give you the advice that you need. But the point is that at the end of the day, we are going to find that ability in disability, and make sure that everybody does as best as possible. So that will be my advice to parents, to get educated, get more information, and get the right counsel.
Get right information. Information is the key. The society at large, what do you have to tell them?
Oh, the society, no single person makes a society. The society comprises of everybody, and everybody has their part to play. So my advice to the society is, from the information you have gotten today, know what to do to prevent disability. But if you find yourself there is also still not a disadvantage, it can be an advantage. So make sure that you use it to your advantage. Those people that are around you that have such disabilities, realize that they are also part of the society. They have a lot of contributions to make, sometimes even more significant than you will make yourself. So make sure you are encouragement to them, you are part of them, they are working with you, and you are helping enhance them, while they are also helping enhance you in other ways. So everybody is working together to make sure that we can harness the best from every individual, irrespective of what abilities or disabilities that they have. So it's actually like teamwork. Let's put it that way.
Wow, it's really a teamwork. So everybody should join hands together to make their life better, give life meaning. disability. In disability, we discuss about deafness, because of deafness, and how you can get on with your life, even with the disability. It is not the end of life. Doctor, thank you for coming for this program today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, I know that when I invite you again, you will come, because we really want to know more about the deafness and other things that causes ear loss.
Yes, anytime you invite, I'll be here.
All right. Have a great week, a productive week. I remain Angela Ekure.